Around 6 million years ago, long before Homo sapiens appeared, early hominids walked the earth. They were not yet human, but no longer fully ape. Their bodies, behaviors, and habitats reveal a species in transition, standing at the threshold of the human story. At this time, the human lineage had just separated from the ancestors of chimpanzees and gorillas. Species such as Sahelanthropus chadensis in Central Africa and Ornithogenensis in East Africa represent some of the earliest known hominids. They carried features of both ape and human, small brains and long arms for climbing, but hips, spines, and leg bones that show the first signs of walking upright. Living in groups offered protection. The call of alarm could send the entire band scrambling up trees or moving to safety. Their upright stance helped them spot predators early, giving them precious moments to escape. The defining trait of these early species was their shift toward bipedalism. This adaptation had profound consequences. It freed the hands, allowing future hominids to carry food and eventually make tools. It conserved energy, enabling them to travel farther across open landscapes. Early hominids had small, lightweight bodies standing just over 1 meter tall. Their skulls resembled apes, with pronounced brow ridges and small brains, perhaps the size of a chimpanzee's. But below the head, change was evident. While little direct evidence survives, early hominids likely lived in small groups. Cooperation would have been essential for survival, sharing food, caring for young, and watching for predators. Living in groups offered protection. The call of alarm could send the entire band scrambling up trees or moving to safety. Their upright stance helped them spot predators early, giving them precious moments to escape. Sisu truck QSA x chuva x nai cho ti chung kai bienji hai chanat net la nat thui jiong. Chung ko tho jiang voi thang. Mikdi vi cha hong chin. Life was lived both in the trees and on the forest floor, a dual existence that helped them survive. The Africa of 6 million years ago was not uniform. Forests, grasslands, rivers, and woodlands intermingled. Hominids thrived in this mosaic environment. Foraging was not random. They learned the cycles of trees, which season produced the sweetest fruit, which roots could be dug and eaten in dry months. The group moved together, often led by experienced females who remembered the hidden sources of food. These hominids did not yet farm, but their collective memory functioned as a living map of the forests. Though plants formed the bulk of their diet, survival pushed them toward meat. They were not powerful hunters like lions or leopards, yet hunger drove innovation. Some hominids became opportunistic scavengers waiting for predators to leave behind carcasses. With sharp eyes and courage in numbers, they would approach the remains, stripping flesh and cracking bones for marrow. The defining leap came when hominids discovered that stone and bone could serve as weapons and tools. At first, they used naturally sharp rocks to cut meat or crack nuts. Over generations, instinct turned into practice. Striking one stone against another produced flakes with razor edges. These earliest stone tools, later known as the Goldauan tradition marked a turning point. Simple choppers, scrapers, and flakes allowed them to butcher animals quickly before scavengers arrived. Toolmaking was not yet sophisticated, but it was revolutionary. For the first time, a species in the hominid line was actively reshaping the environment rather than merely adapting to it. As hominids grew more adept at survival, they searched for safer, more permanent refuges. Open savannas offered food but little protection. Storms, cold winds, and prowling predators constantly threatened their existence. Thus began the search for natural, Shelters, caves carved into the earth by time. Caves offered continuity, and like fleeting camps in the open, they allowed groups to return to the same place season after season, creating the first sense of home. These shelters provided a foundation for social bonds, rituals, and, much later, the first traces of symbolic art. Caves offered continuity, and like fleeting camps in the open, they allowed groups to return to the same place season after season, creating the first sense of home. These shelters provided a foundation for social bonds, rituals, and, much later, the first traces of symbolic art. Over time, early hominids moved beyond opportunistic use of natural fires. Between 1.5 and 2 million years ago, they began preserving embers, using them for warmth, light, protection, and smoke to ward off insects. Over time, early hominids moved beyond opportunistic use of natural fires. Between 1.5 and 2 million years ago, they began preserving embers, using them for warmth, light, protection, and smoke to ward off insects. By combining foraging, opportunistic hunting, and tool use, early hominids crossed an invisible threshold. They were still small-brained compared to modern humans, but they had begun a pattern that would accelerate. Food acquisition became strategic, not merely instinctual. Tool use became habitual, not accidental. Group cooperation strengthened, forming the roots of society. These shifts were slow, unfolding across countless generations, but they laid the foundation for the future of the genus Homo. The earliest hominids left no words, no art, no permanent dwellings. Their story is written in scattered bones, chipped stones, and the faint echoes of survival across deep time. Yet their achievements were immense. They were the first to rise onto two legs, the first to wield stone, the first to turn survival into strategy. From their daily struggles searching, scavenging, and shaping tools emerged the spark of humanity. The earliest hominids left no words, no art, no permanent dwellings. Their story is written in scattered bones, chipped stones, and the faint echoes of survival across deep time. Though they lived and died without knowing it, they began the human story. Every step we take, every tool we craft, every society we build can be traced back to those ancient ape-like ancestors who first learned how to feed themselves, defend their kin, and shape stone into survival.